Hey guys, I'm live. I haven't done this live in a while. It's good to see you guys. This story's about coffee. That's why I put the mug of Too Strong coffee on the front. It's not about Too Strong, although I'm going to plug the crap out of that in a second. It's about Black Rifle Coffee, which is a hard right-wing coffee. And they were on Joe Rogan's podcast, and I want to talk about what Joe Rogan said and get you guys feedback in a sense on that. And tell you guys a story because it's an interesting story with an interesting point. But funny enough, our live videos are sponsored by Too Strong Coffee, the progressive version of Black Rifle, basically. You go to toostrongcoffee.com/TYT, and this is their Christmas mug. If you're thinking, hey, jank, fake news, it's not Christmas, it's August, you're right. But they brought back Christmas specials and this mug because people asked for it. It says Santa's progressive and Jesus is too. All right. And he's got a good Too Strong coffee. Santa looks a little tiny bit mean there, though. Anyway, the Christmas discounts are back as well. So toostrongcoffee.com/TYT. All right. Now the story. So Evan Hafer, I think that's how you pronounce it, CEO of Black Rifles on Joe Rogan's podcast. And he tells the story about how right-wingers got pissed at him. And Joe finds out that, oh my God, right wing also does cancel culture, and he's outraged by it. And so I find that hilarious because right wing invented cancel culture. Of course, Joe, of course. I'm going to give you more examples of that in a second. But first, let me tell you what actually happened, if I could find it in my links here. And so far, no. Okay, so Hafer goes on, and Joe says, when people were attacking you, I got butthurt, Joe says about himself. I was like, come on, Evan, get the F out of here. And he said it was so weird to see cancel culture coming from the right. I was like, I didn't know it worked that way. I didn't know you effing idiots would do the same crap. Like, what is going on? It was the weirdest dog pile I've ever watched. First of all, it's not weird in any way, shape, or form. Everybody's attacking each other online. The left attacks the left, right attacks right attacks left, vice versa. Everybody attacks the middle. The middle dominates, unfortunately, not because they're the largest in terms of the voters, but because they own mainstream media, etc. And that's the middle of Washington, not the middle of the country. You get it. We're all attacking each other nonstop. The algorithms are driving everybody nuts, and it's driving them to honestly grifting and everything else in between, right? So I love that Joe's surprised by that. And of all people, he should be least surprised. He gets attacked plenty, right? And so, but why were to me, there's two interesting parts. One is, why is right-wing attacking Black Rifle Coffee? They celebrate gun culture. They're all about the Second Amendment, the cops, the military, and Blue Lives Matter, etc. But they made a couple of and by the way, they supported that horrible, terrible guy who murdered civilians in Afghanistan, who Donald Trump backed during his court-martial. And that guy like murdered a teenager that was under control. He murdered civilians who weren't Taliban at all. And his own, I think he was special ops. His own guys said they were worried he was going to murder them, okay? But Black Rifle Coffee is like, yeah, man, we love murderers, right? So they're not good guys. They're not at all good guys. And that's why the right wing likes them. They're like, oh, yeah, we're down for murderers too. But the first time they got into trouble was that Kyle Rittenhouse, after he got out of jail for also murdering people, he had a Black Rifle Coffee shirt on, I believe. And so it's a big brouhaha in the press. They say it's Black Rifle's fault. First of all, let me just say, that one's not Black Rifle's fault. The dude's wearing a shirt. Apparently somebody else gave it to him. He didn't even know, right? And I agree with Black Rifle on that one. He could have been wearing a Nike shirt. Who knows? Who cares what shirt he was wearing? I care what Rittenhouse did. So the question is, how are they going to react to that? So if they were like, oh, yeah, another murderer, we love it, then I hate him forever, right? But as it turns out, they made a mistake of being decent there for a second. They didn't say much. I mean, they mainly said was like, oh, yeah, Second Amendment's awesome. Freedom is awesome. You can express whatever you want. Yeah. But, we don't want to profit off of tragedy. Right wing went nuts. Like, what do you mean? You don't want to profit off of tragedy. We hate you, right? And they're like, whoa, we didn't expect that. And why didn't you expect that? Have you not been online? Okay, you guys put on the MAGA hats, you do all that stuff. You didn't know your own base is. I'm trying to be nicer to conservatives and right wing. I don't want to say despicable. I don't want to say deplorable. Okay, but not overly pleasant. You didn't know that? Okay, so we're going to get to January 6th in a second. And by the way, I'll call out people who joined by hitting the join button below, some super chats and stuff. And since we're talking about right-wing coffee, I mean, look, here's another mug at Too Strong, okay? It's handmade, made by a progressive Young Turks viewer. She makes them in America. She's awesome. I love these, okay? This is one mug at toostrongcoffee.com/TYT. Okay, here's another mug. Beautiful, handmade, American-made, made in America, okay? That's how the left wing rolls. We love this country. That's why we make our mugs here, all right? Then we take some of that money and we send it to progressive causes. How you like us now, Black Rifle? Anyway, so in a weird way, I'm partly like quarter way giving them credit on some of this stuff. So that no wonder the right wing hates him. Anyway, so then one of the January 6th guys, the zip tie guy. You remember the guy jumping over? He's got the zip ties. He's got the taser. So he's one of the guys they were most worried about. He's wearing a Black Rifle hat and baseball cap. And so Evan, who runs it, no, I'm sorry, Best, someone else at the company. I forget his exact title, and I don't care. He said at the end of a long New York Times article about them, he said, you can't let sections of your customers hijack your brand and say, this is who you are. It's like, no, we define that. And then Hafer added, it's such a repugnant group of people. Talking about the Capitol rioters, okay? It's like the worst of American society. And I got to flush the toilet of some of those people that kind of hijacked portions of the brand. They're not going to like that. And they didn't, okay? Andy Ngo, I know it's not Ngo, no. I forget the others, but a bunch of right-wing lunatics who right-wing and some insane portions of the left-wing celebrate. Oh, did you know Andy Ngo's a real journalist? No, he highly edits those videos and does them for provocation. Anyway, I don't want to get into him. But those guys are all, of course, supernova pissed. They're like, how dare you say that about true patriots, okay? People who want to end our democracy are more American. Really? Really? You sure about that? People who attack our capital to make sure the guy who lost stays in power forever and ever are patriots. And to their credit, the Black Rifle guys were like, no, not really, right? And then so, of course, more hate pours in. Here's another quote from Hafer. The racism crap really pisses me off. I hate racist, proud boyish people. Like I'll pay them to leave my customer base. I would gladly chop all those people out of my effing customer database and pay them to get the F out. Okay. Yeah, no. They're going to have problems with that. Okay, they're definitely going to have problems with that because that is who they are. That is most of your customer base. You just don't know it. And so to be fair to them, I don't know that they lost most of their customer base. And most people, I'm sure, that are their customers never even heard any of those quotes, didn't see the New York Times article, and probably didn't see the Joe Rogan podcast. But if you don't think that's a big portion of the conservative base and the people who buy your coffee, you're nuts. Okay, so but I guess that means that he had courage, and look, the grift is real, and so there's tons of people, both on the right and the people pretending to be on the left, that would have never done that. They would have been like, oh, I got a super chat. Oh my God, it was 1999. Okay, yes, Russia's awesome. Okay. No, Jake, you're not. Oh no, you can't joke around about that, man. No. Russia. All right, whatever. So credit them for being a little principled. On the other hand, color them naive. But now back to Joe Rogan, because I think that's probably the even more interesting point. But you could also, by the way, get normal mugs like this. This is our normal mug of Too Strong coffee. Well, that looks like that belongs in a campfire, doesn't it? And is it organic and fair trade? Well, we're progressive. We'd be knuckleheads if we didn't do organic and fair trade when our customer base are wonderful, decent people. Yeah, I said it, conservatives. What are you going to do, cry? TooStrongCoffee.com/TYT. Okay, so Rogan's like, oh, Did you guys know that the right wing can do cancel culture? And people are talking about how they're going to get rid of their coffee because Evan Hafer said what he said about the rioters. Joe, really? Really? Of course! Of course! I mean, there's several layers of this. Number one, the right wing's been doing this for decades. They did a so-called boycott of Disney because Disney didn't hate gay people. That happened like 20 years ago, right? And they kept it for like 15 years or something, and it had no effect, nothing, didn't move their sales 0.5%, okay? Because that conservative base is in a lot of ways, like that super angry part, especially back then, was tiny. And they don't represent the majority of people at all. And they're like, well, come on, why don't you guys all hate gay people? Let's not go to Disney, right? And people are like, I'm cool, dog. I'm good. Okay, I'm gonna go anyway. So all that stuff failed, and that was cancel culture. And then, recently they've been doing it. In fact, they did it on behalf of Black Rifle before. Remember, Couric said something. I don't remember what they said. They probably said, like, the sky is blue and the grass is green, and you probably shouldn't kill puppies. And the right wing's like, culture wars, I hate you, right? And they started smashing their Courics. I'm trying to not be mean to Republicans, so they probably had a good reason for acting like primates, but, well, come to think of it. Anyway, so other primates. And then at that point, they're like, okay. And then Sean Hannity came in and told them, about get Black Rifle. You'll love it. Okay. Those guys are for the guys, killing Muslims when they don't need to. Perfectly innocent people. Yeah. Right. And everyone's like, yeah, we like that. Let's go get those guys. And then they're like, oh, no, you don't want us to kill cops in America. Oh, boo. We hate you. Okay. So the Curry thing was cancel culture. It didn't work. They did one on Nike when the Colin Kaepernick ad. That didn't work. But, Joe, how could you have not seen those things? But that's just one layer of it. The other layer of it is how cancel culture started in the first place. Look at this. Hey, there we go. Dallas Rabbit gave $8.99, but New Zealand dollars. I have no idea if I just struck it rich or if that's like 12 cents. Anyways, but that's besides the point, because Dallas, it's the idea that counts. Okay. So bless your heart and much love. Okay. So, cancel culture in a sense started when right-wingers started going to college campuses and finding pro-Palestinian professors, which of course you can't have that. They're in favor of being decent to another group of humans. So the right wing's like, fire them, cancel them. And that's how it started. This happened like 20, maybe 25 years ago it started. And so there's the woman who was a conservative columnist for the New York Times, flamboyantly quit and claimed cancel culture at New York Times. They didn't fire you. You quit. That ain't cancel culture, right? And she is the one, I think it's Barry Weiss. Don't quote me on it because I'm doing it off the top of my head. And she then she's the one that had back then said, you got to fire these professors that aren't pro-Israel enough, right? That's insane, especially on a college campus. And that's how it started. And so, and like, I don't know if, and here it's a little important what Joe Rogan thinks because a lot of people watch him. And so that you shouldn't sneeze at that. And it'd be easy for me as another talk show to say, man, who cares? Joe Rogan is not a big deal, right? No, but a lot of people watch him. And so that matters if they're getting the right information and wrong information. But what's more important is that the right wing just never gets the right information. It's not just Rogan. I don't think it filters to them at all, if you will. It's a filtering point that allows me to go to strongcoffee.com/2IT. Okay, I'm also exhausted. Matthew H., thank you for the super chat, brother. Am I ever going back on Joe Rogan? No, I think he's honestly, this is my theory. I have no idea if it's true. I think he's a little scared to have me on. Now, it's easy to say, and it's like, oh yeah, you trying to goad him? No, I don't care. We have a perfectly gigantic, gorgeous audience. We don't need it. Would I do it? I probably would do it. Like with Bill Maher, I hate him. With Rogan, he's such a knucklehead. It's hard. Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes he makes it easy to hate him. Sometimes he makes it hard to hate him. But I think that he has good intent, but is often misdirected, right? And that's why I say I think he's a little afraid to have me on because I think he definitely does not put that much thought into it. If it pops into his head, it pops into his head for like a half a second. But my sense is that his gut instinct is, if I have Cenk on, he's going to tell me how all my guests are dirtbags, and he's going to be right about it. And that's kind of annoying. And I like having those dirtbags on. And he's going to judge me and tell me things that I'm wrong about. And he's probably going to be right. Fuck it. And then he moves on. Okay. Does he think any of that? I have no idea. I might have made all of that up. But that's my super rough BS sense of it. Okay. Ryan, thank you. $5. Easy to hit him when he's openly transphobic. Yes. And it's Rain, by the way, not Ryan. And there's an A before the 5. I have no idea. Maybe that's an Australian $5 again. I might have just hit the lottery, or it might be 3 cents. I don't know. But the point is that the comment is more important. Yes, on the transphobic stuff, he's totally wrong. And it's easy to hate him on that. And yes, if I was on the show, I'd easily prove that he was wrong on it. And yet that's probably among the reasons why he doesn't want to have me back on. I was on like 5 years ago. But again, I'm reading a ton into it that probably doesn't exist. Okay, so it's easier to have knuckleheads pretending to be on the left on, and because you have somebody like, all right, we'll say the name. You have somebody like Jimmy on, he's going to come on and be like, oh yeah, the right wing's right about everything, man. I was on with Tucker and he's so right about everything and you're right about everything. Oh my God, let me tell you how right you are. Oh, you see that? I had the left wing on. Did you? Okay, so anyways, there's the laws, 2 sets of laws. The laws that several states passed, saying that if you're protesting, people have a right to run you over with their cars. So you're protesting an oil pipeline. Well, that's against our corporate donors. So we give people the right to murder you by running you over in the streets. I'm pretty sure that's cancel culture. First of all, you're limiting free speech. The right to protest the government is the most core right we have. It's right next to freedom of speech. It's part of freedom of speech in a sense. It's the First Amendment. It's in the First Amendment. And they're like, oh, you're voicing your opinion against an oil pipeline. Murder them. It's okay. Run them over in the streets. So that's in a whole bunch of states, all passed by Republicans. Okay. So Joe, if you didn't know, now you know. Okay. And then there's the laws, including the one DeSantis is pushing for in Florida now. But first of all, Edwin Silverblade, thank you, brother, for the super chat. We appreciate it. And that one is, hey, if you ever say that you support a boycott of Israel, well, that's an unacceptable opinion to have in the state of Florida. We will rob you of your freedom of speech, freedom of association, and every other right you have as an American, and we'll punish you. The state will punish you for your opinion.